So we thought it would be helpful on this next section to do a bit more of a deep dive into Ocean, the competitive grants programme itself. So as we're all aware, the ocean is of extreme global importance, and it's facing serious and increasing threats from overexploitation, pollution, biodiversity loss, and climate change. And despite the fact that 10% of the global population have a high dependence on the nutritional, economic, and coastal protection benefits the ocean provides, and the fact it contributes $1.5 trillion to the global economy, less than 1% of the total value was invested in the ocean economy through sustainable projects in the past decade as well. And at the same time, the ocean is facing serious and increasing threats as well. So it's really important that we take action and take action now. So we know that community-led initiatives have huge potential to make a really positive impact. And despite the unique position that these local organisations might occupy, the funding opportunities has been very limited previously. There's been insufficient funding for marine issues and organisations that focus on reaching local community organisations. And Ocean really want to kind of redress the imbalances by supporting people and communities that are most acutely impacted by declining ocean health and climate change, and will support innovative proposals from local coastal communities and organisations that will aim to deliver marine protection and reduce poverty worldwide. And we're obviously looking to contribute towards some of the various different strategic objectives that are in line with government priorities. So one example is that we hope by funding sustainable development of the marine environment, that we can contribute towards Sustainable Development Goal 14, Life Below Water. Previously, it's only received 0.01% of all Sustainable Development Goal funding from development finance by 2019. So we're hoping that we can have a real impact there as well. We can move on to the next slide. So Ocean. So the Ocean Community Empowerment and Nature Grants Programme is a new official development assistance competitive grants programme. It's expected that it's going to run until the 31st of March 2029 and will provide an investment of up to £60 million. It's going to support innovative proposals from local coastal communities and organisations that aim to deliver marine protection and reduce poverty worldwide. And we've put our mission here. So our mission is to empower local communities to make their own decisions concerning the sustainable management and protection of the marine environment. And Ocean seeks to support people and communities most affected by declining ocean health and climate change and our impact. So our goal is to place the ocean on a path to recovery and for local communities and nature to thrive side by side. And so some of the objectives that we're kind of looking at for Ocean is to improve marine protection, reduce poverty. We also want to focus on promoting gender equality and social inclusion, ensuring that safeguarding against sexual exploitation, abuse and harassment is a key focus of the programme too. And there's a very strong monitoring, evaluation and learning element of Ocean also. If we move on to the next slide. So we have two funding pathways in Ocean. So the first one is our community grants. These are our smaller grants of up to £250,000. The maximum length is for the duration of Ocean, so till the 31st of March 2029. And these will be targeting smaller in-country organisations and local communities with a focus on capacity building and alongside delivering activities to support local communities and improve the marine environment as well. And then we have our second pathway, which is partnership grants. So these are our larger grant sizes, so from £250,000 up to £3 million. Again, the same maximum project length, so the duration of the programme, so potentially up to the 31st of March 2029. And here we're looking to target larger organisations and or consortia, and the projects will be focusing on creating partnerships with local organisations to scale up existing activities and aim to reach higher numbers of people. And so what types of project will Ocean be looking to fund? So funding is available for projects that are based in countries eligible for overseas development assistance and will focus on both marine protection and multi-dimensional poverty reduction. So with regards to marine protection, projects must focus on protecting, conserving or restoring the marine environment or management of marine resources. And this could directly relate to one of the Blue Planet Fund's 7 key outcomes that we've listed here and already run through, but it's not a requirement. And with regards to the poverty reduction element, so projects must also address poverty reduction directly or indirectly, taking into consideration the disproportionate impacts of climate change and biodiversity loss on women and girls, people living in poverty, and marginalised groups as well. So yeah, promoting gender equality and social inclusion is very important to us. Also, we're expecting projects to work at the local level with organisations in country. So although open to all thematic and geographic areas, Ocean will be taking an adaptive approach to programming, and we may look to refine our approach and identify priority areas or regions in future rounds. So we do therefore recommend that you would submit your application at the earliest round possible, just to avoid any disappointment if our focus was to shift in future rounds as well. You. And so some more information on the types of projects that Ocean will fund. These are just examples of types of projects that we may look to fund, but it could be such as training artisanal fisheries in illegal, unregulated and unreported fishing, data collection to develop community-led networks. We could look to identify key coastal areas experiencing significant erosion and implementing sustainable solutions to protect these critical habitats. So that could include habitat restoration, natural infrastructure implementation, research or policy advocacy. Organising community training workshops in sustainable marine management practices to increase productivity and yields of ecosystems. Establishing and training in environmental management and information systems. Could be a project to support women, youth, and disabled people to develop income generation and livelihood development in integrated waste management. Establishing waste collection, sorting, and disposal system in local marine communities. Could be capacity building projects to train in-country experts to carry out fishery assessments and develop improvements based on data. And establishing no-take zones, creating biodiversity monitoring systems. So like I said, these are just some examples to hopefully give you a flavour of the type of projects that we could fund. If you're unsure on whether you could be eligible, whether the project you're looking at would align with our objectives, then check the guidance when that's available. And if not, there's a help desk available. We'll provide further information on that later, but do feel free to reach out if that would be helpful. But hopefully this gives you an idea of some examples of projects that we could be looking at. So if we move to the next slide, just a little bit more information on our community grants. So like I said, this is a smaller grant size project. Again, it's 1 year up to the full length of the programme. And we're particularly interested in receiving applications from local community groups or organisations that work in kind of hard to reach coastal communities. Applications can be submitted in Portuguese, Spanish, French and English. And the applications will be based on the delivery of local solutions to tackle marine issues, an increased flow of local knowledge and awareness into marine policy and decision making, and capacity development of local organisation and communities. So this community pot is really focusing on empowerment and leadership. So that's the community grants pot. And if we move on to our partnership grants, so our partnership grants, as I described, is our larger funding pot for grants of £250,000 to £3 million, and projects should deliver local solutions to local problems by partnering with and working alongside local communities and organisations. And applications must be submitted in English only for the partnership grants. And the applications will be assessed on how effectively proposed projects engage with and work alongside local communities to deliver marine and poverty reduction outcomes, and the potential ability to scale through either large scale or easily scalable inclusive partnerships to provide maximum impact. And we're particularly interested in applications that partner with those local community groups or organisations that are in those coastal communities that have traditionally found it harder to apply for this type of funding. If we move on to the next slide. So just hoping to lay out who is eligible to apply as a lead organisation. So lead organisations must be able to demonstrate that they are non-profit organisations. So this could include local community groups or organisations, civil society organisations, any other non-profit organisations, non-governmental organisations, or academic or research institutions. the organisations that are not eligible to apply to be a lead organisation are government agencies, intergovernmental organisations, and private sector organisations as well. They are encouraged to partner with a non-profit organisation, but they're not able to apply as the lead organisation as well. And private sector organisations may receive grant funding through being contracted to undertake specific planned actions for the project, provided that the partnership can demonstrate the value for the money in its costs and benefits to the projects as well. So if you're unsure around any of this, then please just reach out to our help desk and they'll be able to clarify on whether your organisation would be eligible to be a lead organisation or whether you would need to look to partner with another organisation as well. And we also have a few other criteria for applying for a lead organisation for both of the different grants. So for the community grants, lead organisations must be small to medium-sized organisations, so defined as having an annual income of under £1 million. They must be local, regional or national organisations registered in the same country as the project, and partners are not required, but partnerships with local community groups and organisations are encouraged. And if we look at the partnership grants, so for partnership grants, lead organisations should be medium to large organisations, so defined as having an annual income at over £1 million. They must be established organisations with a good track record of implementing projects at scale, and they may be international organisations, and they must have at least one partner organisation that's registered in the same country as the project. And then if we just move on to the next slide. So we've got a few frequently asked questions here. I'm sure there'll be lots more questions as well, but hopefully we can address some of these now. So the first question, so if your organisation does not have a registration certificate, are you still able to apply? So if applying for a community grant below £100,000, then you can provide a letter of support from host government or an FCDO post as evidence that you're a non-profit organisation working in the country. If you are formally registered in an eligible country but are a local branch, office or entity of an international organisation, can you apply for a community grant? So as long as your organisation is registered in the same country as your project and is based in an eligible country, then you would be eligible to apply for a community grant. And can an organisation based in a non-eligible country be the lead organisation for a project? So yes, for a partnership grant, for a community grant, the lead organisation must be based in the same country that the project will be implemented in. And can we partner on a project if we are a government agency, intergovernmental organisation, or work in the private sector? So yes, you can apply as a partner, but you may not receive funding from Ocean. Private sector organisations can partner as long as it represents value for money. So you would not be able to be the lead organisation. You'd be able to operate as a partner, but you would not receive funding from Ocean.